Looks like Bitcoin and all the factors that we've been talking about all week and yesterday, and all the levels have been hit absolutely perfectly, which is an interesting situation. Bitcoin is in a very detailed area. We're going to be looking at SPX, which looks like it's rallying onto another level. We have details about Donald Trump, we have details about Elon Musk, we have details about ETH, Solana, and a whole bunch of things that can be going in a very interesting way. Make sure you stay tuned. At the end, I'm going to be giving you a strategy that I will be following, especially with ETH. There's something really interesting that's going on, and something that I found out very importantly. And on top of that, there's going to be a few cool things that you'll be able to get a hold of, including entry possibly into a pre-sale of a neo bank. Anyway, so I'm Alvarez. If you guys don't know who I am, if it's new people, I'm a 7-figure crypto investor. I've made over 7 figures in investing in crypto over the period of time, and I have a knack for trading that I have taught myself, not like the normal things. And I go through a full show. You'll see what will be going on here. Right. Okay. What is happening right now? Okay, so hi, hello, Marcus. How you everyone's doing today? I'm glad that people are slowly filtering in, and I will get through into the show straight away. Right. Okay. Look, if we look at Bitcoin at this present moment, it is looking like it's hit the exact levels that I've been talking about. I stated it the other day. Hello, Akos, how are you doing? It hit the level absolutely perfectly. If we look carefully, I said it would probably go down towards the 106,000 level, and oh man, I was like a couple of hundred off, but there are some key levels that it needs to hold for this to continue on forward. We have to see what's happening on that side. It's really important that we hold in that level. Right. Okay. Cool. Now, if we look at the levels that we've been talking about, and we look at the cipher B, it looks like the money flow is leveling out, which isn't fantastic. We kind of need this to recover very quickly, and we need this to come and possibly test these areas here. Supposedly, what happened in the glad to see you back, Alvarez. Of course, man, a pleasure seeing you. According to what I've been hearing, the speech with Powell did not go as planned, but we will be watching that today to understand and try and go where it's happening. One interesting thing that's happened is that if we look at the monthly candle close, it closed almost exactly where I stated. I said 106, 105, 900 is wild where it landed. Look at that, it is incredible. Where I mean 105, 833. Now, what we need to see at this present moment is that we need to see some sort of acceleration up from here. We really need to see some sort of acceleration, or we will look like we could potentially see some more downside in the market. Possibly some downside in the market, especially if we look at the liquidation levels here. It looks like there's a nice chunk of liquidations that are holding around the 105 level. But what's also really interesting is that the range is getting ever tighter. This thing is getting to a point where it's starting to getting to a point where there's going to be some large move that's going to be happening, but it could have a small little flush down to the 105,000 level and then move itself up from there. That's going to be extremely important. We need to see where that goes, and previously it's been very accurate. This could happen. It looks like it is heading to those levels already. If we look carefully, we have to make sure that we see what happens at the 105,000 and move from there. Right. A few other things that we also need to look at, and this is really important, and I need everyone to really understand this factor as well. We are still desperately low on exchange volume. See, look, what we need to understand right now, and this is the situation where we are in a full-blown institutional move buy in Bitcoin, right? It's probably the reason why a lot of people right now are fully fearing the fact that alts are doing some some not so good situations as we see right now. Like alts are just really in the red. People are unhappy. People are not looking. But there is something super duper important coming with ETH and Solana. Right, 5 miles in. You don't know me, son. I'm here. All right, my man. This is the situation. Now, look, we are in a very, in my opinion, humble opinion, right? Things can change. Things can go in a very different way. Have my champagne and green. Let's have a bit of a drink. Things can go in one specific way, right? I mean, this is my opinion. This is where I think things are going to be going. This is what I think is going to be developing over the coming months, and where we could end up, and this, why this low volume here actually might be one of the most spectacular opportunities to buy in this market. This ain't financial advice. I'm just thinking about my own opinion. You guys can think any way you want to. I'll get to that in a second. But right now, this is a low. When this is low and volume is low, these things are at the behest of market makers, and more importantly, in the behest of institutional buyers. You know what I mean? All of this move is full institution. I still think that if we get into on the daily coming to certain months, that we really need to start seeing this thing move up. If this cross happens, we could most probably come down and probably test this 41-42% level on the RSI, especially also if we look at the Cypher B. By the way, if anyone wants to access the Cypher B, this thing is normally $1,500, but I could get this for you for around the $300 mark. Come and connect it. It's in the actual what's it called, description of the videos. If you go to the bottom, you go to Learn My Alvarez. It's a Telegram group. It's where everyone is sitting in our project and everything else, and everything move in that direction. This is not looking fantastic at this present moment. We've seen a lowering of money flow, which is a green level. What's it called? The green and the red dot has appeared, and also volume is doing. And on top of that, if we look here, look, I'll show you something really interesting on this. Watch this. And this is what I would highly suggest you do as well. Look, 1 second. If you go to the VWAP and actually change this to a line, right? You see that not only is volume, money flow reducing, which is the green, also the VWAP is going into negative territory with a mid-level red dot. This could show some potential for further downward movement, possibly coming and testing this 104,000 area. We really don't want this to go push down below the 98,000. That's when we start getting into very, very low numbers, but I don't think so. I think around this level, possibly a wick down towards the 104 is a possibility, and then come back into range. We will see what's going on at this present moment. Also, what's really, really important, and this is something that a lot of people aren't understanding, and why we will see a relevant level of negative price action at this in possibly in crypto, is that this week we have some super duper important information coming out. I mean, if we look right now, if we look at this right now, we're going to be seeing non-farm data. We're going to be seeing, Powell spoke today, which is going to be a bit of an interest, and we'll go through that and see what type of things he's been talking about. And most importantly, we're going to be seeing, job creation, unemployment rates, a whole bunch of stuff. And possibly this could run off until next week, which is where we will be seeing the first level of inflationary data coming in. Powell has stated, and even though I gave it the alpha before, he stated that these 2 months is where he's going to be making the decision onto where things are going to be going with interest rates as we go. Also, if we look at one more thing, 1 second, I will look this up as we go forward. 1 second. If you look at FedWatch, 1 second, that's not how you spell Fed. If we look at FedWatch, there we go. If you look at FedWatch, the chances of a rate cut. 1 second, FedWatch. All right, there we go. the chances of a rate cut in July is like 30% at this present moment. But in December, it is almost, in my humble opinion, right? In my humble opinion, 85% now. So the chances of this thing not being cut by that time is going to be absolutely, I mean, uh, there's no chance in my opinion. It's going to be happening there. Even if once we watch this video, it looks like he's a bit in between. I'll explain to you why he might be that way and why this move in the markets might be having a bit of a iffy move. What is this? Fed rate chance. One second. I'll show you a live. I'm gonna be curious what it's gonna be. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. If we look here, the chances of in July that there's going to be a oh wow, yeah, the chance of there not being a cut is 78%, 78.8%. That's like, it's not going to happen. It's very rare unless something really big happens. But in September, the chance of a rate cut being 72.8%. I think this is going to start rising towards the 80 to 90% level. We will see what happens as that time goes by in this market. Now, there's a few interesting things that are going on, especially if we look at the Gaussian channel on Bitcoin. If I'm going too fast, guys, let me know, right? Every big holiday, every weekend, market manipulation will be happening. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yep, 4th of July. Now, if we look at the Gaussian channel, I've been checking out Gaussian channel for a bit. It's kind of getting a bit on that level because we are very close to key levels. I'm not really liking that it has come down into the channel. This is a bit of a lagging indicator. Don't look at all these things. It's always really important when you come to it. Look, what I'll say about the Gaussian channel, it's really important, right? Just for the simple fact that the US needs a rewrite, and so a drone will know the rates. I'll get to that information in a second. Now, if we look at key levels, especially on the monthly end, the Gaussian channel is very, very important. It's a good thing to have a look and keep in mind because it will show at the extremities of the move the importance of where we are. Right now, we're at a key level which is 106. I mean, I've talked about this level over and over again. 106,003 to 400. That area, it can move a bit. It is below that and within the Gaussian channel, which isn't great. If it can't hold the 21-day EMA within that and find a support and break out from there, this could possibly retest this mid-level here. And that mid-level that I stated before, even without looking here, is about the 103 level, around this. And usually what it comes and hits that and then bounces off quite aggressively. That bounce can be quite violent, but we need to make sure that it doesn't break through and then continue on down. That could be a potential. There is still a chance that can happen. This is crypto. No one really knows what's going to be happening. I'm just giving my humble opinion. I think that if it does break around here, it will probably tap that with the wick, come back into the 55-day EMA, and then take off from there. What's super interesting right now, and this is what people really like, it's amazing, right? It's amazing. And I got a little email from a friend of mine who's a big time hedge fund manager, and he sent me something which is quite funny. Hello Devo, hello, welcome to everyone here. SPX is going crazy, right? SPX looks like it's going to go to different planets, right? It's incredible what's happening. I'm going to be hopefully doing a video tomorrow on YouTube. Make sure you follow and check that out about why I think this is going to be going into that area. I gave a bit of a hint of it yesterday so people could really understand what is going on. This is going crazy. I mean, SPX, we are fully in the realm of insanity, of all-time high, and this looks like if it breaks this channel here, it is going to accelerate aggressively. Now, I put this level of the 7,814, right? 7,814, and my a buddy of mine, who's a hedge fund hedge fund manager, sent me this, right? He was like, what inning is the market in market rallying, right? So we go through various things. The first inning is most believed that it cap bounce, yada yada, retest and enter into to conversation, breadth thrust and follow through. Remember the breadth thrust? Remember I did a video about this on TikTok about the breadth thrust, and no one gave it two monkeys about it, right? So we've seen the breadth thrust. We go back and touch the 200-day moving average. Did we do that? Yes, we did. We tapped the 200-day moving average. Everyone claims overvalued on PE. That's pretty much where we are right now. Everyone claims they're fully invested. Sentiment to capitulation. 12-month, 45% rally from lows or new highs. New call for major correction. Where do you guys think we are in this? Where do you guys think that we are in this? I'm just curious to understand where you think that we're at, and I'll give you the answer that he gave me, and I'm agreeing at that point. Have a think. Brett Thrust sounds provocative. Oh yeah, it's only happened twice in history, right? Which means that it's valuable. That's what she said. I don't know. You guys give me an understanding. Where do you think we are in this market rally? I want you guys to give me an answer. I mean, it's a number. You guys can press a number, right? Have a think. Have a think where you think we are in this, and I'll tell you where the hedge fund manager buddy of mine said he thinks we are in, and I kind of agree on that fact. No. Come on, there's 150 of you guys. All right, number 4. Close. We're actually, in my opinion, and according to him as well, we're in the 5th inning. Right? We're in the 5th. I think this is where we are right now. And as time goes by, when the level of liquidity starts going, no, we're not in the 7th, we're in the 5th. Once the liquidity really starts to barrel into the market, thank you, Peachy. Thank you so much to say the 5th, right? A lot of things are gonna move. But what you should really keep an eye on is understand that if we put, and I'll put this, I'll close this. I'll put this to the side for now. If we do 45%. We're looking at 8,000. We're looking at 8,000 S&P 500 value. Hey, even if we do from the lows, $7,000. We're talking about a unbelievable amount of liquidity that's going to be coming into S&P 500. When the money markets slowly disappear into nothing, when those short-term gains to be brought in from this level of liquidity, and the liquidity that's on the sidelines, by the way, guys, I need you to understand this, is $1.8 trillion. We're talking an astronomical amount of money. And on top of that, recently the big beautiful bill has passed. Right? Where's it? It's passed, right? Let me just raise it. Yeah, the big beautiful bill. Yep, here we go. The big beautiful bill has just passed narrowly into fruition. So what's going to be happening is people, these big investors that have unbelievable amounts of money, we got to 8,000 and the correction will be staggering. It will be staggering. It will be staggering, all right? But look, I'm going to get to some really interesting things. I have a mega alpha play that I'm going to be doing. I need you guys to make sure, I'm going to reveal it at the end of this so you guys can make sure you get the full benefit of what I'm saying and not just, or you can go right to the end and get to that bit, whatever, it's up to you, right? But we're going to see some level of expansion here, right? Because on top of that, because once everyone hates this bill, it is, look, all right. The one good thing about this bill, right, is the fact that it's giving a lot of extra liquidity into wealthy people that will be putting money into these assets. Right now, there will be it will be remaining in the money markets short term. They're getting 5-6% on their money. Why would they even bother with risking into S&P 500? But the writing is on the wall. Once that Fed starts cutting, the money markets are going to be less appealing, and that money, $1.8 trillion, is going to be looking for an area to go, and it will go into S&P 500, it will go into Bitcoin, and it will go into two further areas, most probably into altcoins and Bitcoin and various other things, where the risk on assets will be increasing because the risk profile for people will be higher, because not only they'll be looking for new areas of return, but at the same time they will have more disposable money to put that into these assets. It's a double whammy. Massive amount of liquidity is going to be coming into the market as we speak. If you have any questions, please let me know. Now, if we look at the total market cap, right? Again, I like to look at the Gaussian channel when we get at the extremities of this. To me, we are seeing really good, and I mean real good support. We're seeing not only support at the previous all-time high, 2021 high, but it is at the extremities within support level of the Gaussian channel, and we are way above that. The key factor here, this is going to be absolutely amazing and super important to do. We're having a bit of a pullback now, which we could potentially go and maybe test the 3.16 trillion level. We must, out of every single level, hold this $3 trillion market value. That is the key point. Even if you come and test it, I will most probably be a buyer at that point to see what to gain and garner what we could be moving forward right now. Because right now we're going to be seeing somewhat of a small pullback, because people are going to be de-risking due to inflationary numbers, due to unemployment numbers, due to the uncertainty in that area of what's going to be happening. This is really key, really important. Oh, and one more thing I want to show you guys. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen this? Have you seen this? Do you know what this is? I want everyone to really understand. Does anyone understand? You know what this is? This is a real thing that Donald Trump sent Powell. This is real, right? He printed out the interest rates of the world, right? And wrote, here is where we should be. This is real. This is real, right? Jerome, you are as usual too late. You have cost the USA a fortune and continue to do so. You should lower the rate by at least 100. I don't know. At last, you should lower rates. I don't know what that is. Hundreds of billions, hundreds of billions, hundreds of billions are being lost. No inflation. No inflation. I mean, wait, did the Popo hear that? Right now. I mean, he does kind of have a point, maybe. He does kind of give that vibe that he should be doing something. But I think in July, as I stated before, what's going to be coming out, and when we really find out about inflationary numbers now and the job creation and all the details that are going to be coming out, I think Donald Trump will be calling a bit of a win on this, saying, "See, I sent this letter." I love how he signs it as well. I love how he signs it, as if it's like, yeah, you can keep that, man. You can put that on your wall. That's my gift. That's my gift to you, right? It's my gift to you. My favorite financial. Thank you so much. Right? So this is where we are with this. This is absolutely hilarious. I had to show this to you. Furthermore, some other really interesting news. And by the way, if you guys you should be checking out the Learn My Alvarez aspect here, because there's a lot of really interesting things that are going on. You can actually see the kind of stuff that's happening in here, like news and free stuff and a lot of free conversations. and a few other things that I'll be showing to you guys here. What's really interesting, and I want everyone to really understand. Where did this go? Why is that not working? Why are you not working, my man? What's further interesting is this. Whoa, YouTube emojis are weird. Yeah, it is a bit crazy. You guys, by the way, make sure you like and share and all this kind of stuff. Maybe even send him a bottle of Trump perfume or the phone. The Trump phone seems interesting. Now, what's really, really pivotal here, and what's this ramping up between these two. I love how they both have hats. It makes me happy. It makes me very happy that they both have hats, right? Is that these two are going to be going through some level of, this fight is not going to go well, especially now that the beautiful bill has gone through. Elon Musk has nothing else left in his life, right? He's like, I have enough money to know what I'm going to be doing, and on top of that, I'm going to be creating a new party, going to go against it. He's going to give money against all the people that voted for the bill. To be honest, he's right. I mean, it's going to be, they are kicking the problem down the road. This bill, this debt that's ramping up, that this new 6 million, I'm here, 6 million here. Jose, thank you so much. I appreciate that. What's really interesting here is that what he's saying is true. I mean, like the 2.8 increase in debt is not great, but if they can fuel that extra amount of money that will go from there. Thoughts on the new NYC mayor saying he will tax the rich? Oh, I don't know. We'll see. Need the fat cat hat. Yeah, definitely. I know, right? I will talk about. I'll ask him. I'll have a think about that. I mean, I don't know how much of that is gonna actually work, because it still needs to pass a lot of things for him to tax the rich. But if it means that it's going to be benefiting the people, I mean, like this bill is going to be having a massive effect on the wealthy anyway. They're going to be making more money than they need to be. They're going to know what's going to be happening with. So this is going to be a big problem. I would say that Nvidia stock is going to be going into heavy discount. I still wouldn't rule this guy out, especially, but we will see. Carolyn Levitt, press secretary, held a graph up and read that the message to Jerome at the press release today. Too funny. It's kind of funny, right? It is. It's hilarious. The extent of what's going on right now. I mean, to be honest, everyone is looking at Powell. Everyone's like, bruv, like, come on, get with the program. He is slightly getting political right now. To be honest, in July he should have cut. The problem with the Fed is that they usually are late, and that level of being late can cause a massive problem in the markets. All right, so this is going to be a bit of a problem. Make sure you check out Nvidia stock. Nvidia stock is going to be in a massive level of discount going forward for that time being. Right. Now, let's look at some other things. USDT dominance. Wow, man, look at that. I mean, you see, I said the 4.92 is going to be a key point. Let's see. Good evening. How's your pen doing? It's still very happy. It's very happy at the moment. No, but serious. Like, you know what? Why are you taking me off my alpha I'm giving to everyone? Now, this level that I stated on the USDT dominance, the 4.92, it did perfectly, rejected off it. We have to be careful right now. Oof. We'll see. We'll see. We need to make sure that this day candle does not close above that 4.92 level, because it could. They can still do emergency meeting and rate cuts, or Orange Man will be super. If they do emergency rating, that will tank the market. We don't want anything emergency, but I don't want them to tax me because I'm the 1%. All right, confidence. If that's the case, then I don't know what to say. Then it won't happen. I would be very doubtful that it's going to be going through. What he'll be stating is what he's doing. He really doesn't have too much power on that side. And confident, if you have that, if you are the 1%, man, check out Fat Cat. Just saying, you know what I'm saying, bro. But I'm messing around. But look, we have to make sure that it stays above the 4.92%. I mean, below the 5.29%, because if that's the case, this could go and accelerate possibly up around the 5%. We need the 5% to hold no matter what. It is vital. At these extremities of this market, it's usually where it might be good potential times to see maybe play with this level. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't get above there. This will could potentially cause more pain in the market, and it looks like this level here is going to be tapped, what I was talking about, and that's probably why the USDT dominance is going up in that level. Right. If you go at the US dollar, we're still waiting on this key level here that we've been talking about. I still believe this is going to go down. The more this goes down, the more it's better for their debt. The more that the US economy actually gains, because people are looking to buy goods from the USA, and it works well with their tariff taxing structure, which can work well. We don't want this to move up. That's not a good sign, but it could potentially do that. Once the rate cut happens, we'll see what goes on when we get to these levels. Gold, I don't know what's happening and why it's saying that. Gold looks like there could be continuation up and possibly reject of the 3,383. This is a clear break of trend. I mean, it's a clear break of trend that we're seeing right now. So it's not great, right? It's not great. We're gonna. It means that they're seeing some level of uncertainty. I'm assuming it's coming from the Fed conversation that happened today, and possibly fears of inflationary pressures that are happening in the market. We'll see. Depends on what's going to be happening with unemployment rates and inflation rates that are coming out. But I don't see gold going above the 3,383. I don't see it. I really don't see it, especially as the move towards rate cuts are coming closer and closer and closer. This is usually fear stock. It just looks like it's ranging at this present moment. I would not be surprised if it taps that and possibly comes back down and tests this bottom level again. Now, I will come to these in a second. I'll talk to you about that in a second and that thing. Now, if we look at total 2, it's broken back into trend. They say great, right? It's not the best possible area. If you want to see where this could be landing, if we look at the fair value gap that was developed here, is that right? Let's move this a bit so I can see. Fair value gap that's developed. We find the 50% level, right? I would say a potential breakdown towards the 1.09 trillion level that could also give credence to. I mean, if it breaks through the 0.382 level, I would say there could be a good potential buy, and that could be is this the one and only 1% Wagman from TikTok? Oh wow, hello Wagman, how you doing, my man? This level here could be a potential area that I would expect a bounce to come from. All right, and where am I looking at right now? Let's look at total 3. This is basically, the alt market, right? This is basically the alt market. Let's get rid of that. This looks like it's going to be coming. And if we do something similar as well here, let's do something right now. All right, let's do something similar like this. If we find the fair value gap here, I would say that, yep, and find the fib from that point. See that? I mean, wow, that's absolutely incredible. Feels like investors don't believe in altcoins anymore. No one wants to be in someone else's liquidity. Some alt back to 2020 lows, while Bitcoin running to all-time highs. I'm going to explain that in a second as well, right? That all could change very, very quickly. Very quickly. I'm going to explain to you something, right, that will blow your mind. I mean, I give this alpha free of charge, right? And all I want from you is a few likes. All I want from you is to follow my YouTube channel, write a few comments, and get that growing, right? It will also help anyone that is in the Fat Cat community as well, because more eyes on this and a different type of eye will always help. But I'm going to state something that is not only going to be very bullish for Fat Cat and all Solana memes and also ETH. Oh man, I'm bringing something to you guys super duper early. Oh man, I just can't. I can't. Right? So I'm expecting something to do here, and this is where a certain strategy is going to be coming. Now, Let's get to level 1 of the alpha I'm going to be giving. Because it comes in multiple alpha levels, right? We don't want to be going in singular alpha. We go in double alphas. You know, alpha, 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 something like this. Right. If you again go into the Learn by Alvarez thing, its links are in bio. You can go and check it out there. Also, the links to Fat Cat, the aggregator, and all that kind of stuff is going to be happening. I was going to be streaming on Pop Not Fun, but I realized I figured it out finally how to go live on it, and yeah, okay, I need to do some stuff before that. So tomorrow, most probably, right? This is Marty Patty, right? Marty Party. This is a kind of a cool thing. 7 Mile in. Thanks for the entertainment. I'll build different. 7 miles in. Thanks for the entertainment. I'll build different. Right. I don't know what that means. Right. So what's really interesting, right? Marty Party does some really cool, interesting tweets and some real good, interesting analysis. What's going on here, and what is really interesting, and why Solana and Ethereum should really be in your focus. They should really be in your focus, and things that are on Solana are going to be doing crazy things. Look, my alt channel that I have, and I'll show you that as well. I'm doing all of my posts there, right? And I did a post of I'm doing all my posts there. You really should listen to the stuff there. That's where I'm going to be doing most of my things. I want to get that up to 1,000 so I can start going live on that, and you guys will be able to get access to those things. Make sure that's the case. Make sure you see that. Make sure you spread it and get people to follow that channel. It's only for the benefit of everyone else. What's happening right now, right, is X stocks. You can trade normal stocks on Solana right now. And this is before any type of regulation, before any type of regulatory clarity, and more importantly, without stable coins being the norm in most financial institutions. I'm running, bro. Oh, cool. All right, you're running. Oh, fantastic. Good. Are you watching me while you're running? That makes me happy, right? I hope I look overweight so it can make you want to run more. And that's amazing. The fact that you can actually do that on the Solana network, right? On the Solana chain, when it hasn't even got to the key point, and on top of that, we're going to be getting its new update 2.0 that's going to be coming on Solana, which will make it be able to do 1 million transactions, with on top of that being able to trade normal stocks, with staking, with a whole bunch of stuff coming. Solana is going to do some funny things. And if we're going to be seeing a bit of a pullback right now, right? I'm eating ice cream and looking at you. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Yes, I want to ask, what is X-Stocks? X-Stocks is, in essence, you being able to trade on the Solana chain real stocks. I'm eating. Thank you so much. It's very kind. That is a wild development. Now, if we are seeing a pullback in a lot of stocks right now, I mean, I stated that it's lost that 50% level. We have to go to the previous level to see where this thing could get to, right? Where was I saying? Yeah, so if we're seeing a deeper pullback, in Solana, guess what I'm doing? I don't know, cleaning your Lamborghini. Sorry. Okay, I will look it up. Thanks. Yeah, check it out. If we get a deeper pullback in Solana, it is, in my opinion, a buying opportunity, right? It is a major buying opportunity. If we see potential areas where this thing can bounce, I would most probably think around the 50% level here, which will be probably around the 143, possibly wick down and tap the 141. I will be buying, right? I will be buying that level because of what's coming, what's happening, and also this massive level of liquidity moving forward. Now, you got it correct. Nice one, man. Appreciate it. Now, this is the big one, right? By the way, if you're confident, if you get into the whale, I'll give you 2 indicators free of charge, right? Um, uh, this is where the crazy thing happens, and this is what everyone really needs to understand. Ethereum. I bet you guys didn't know something. I bet you guys didn't know something. Did you know? All right, let me ask this question. When the stablecoin bill passed, when Solana is going, Fat Cat is going to, am I wrong? Fat Cat and all meme coins, and I was going to come to that. Oh, yeah, good reminding me. I will explain this to you, right? This is something you guys need to understand. When Solana starts going up and going crazy, go where money is going to be made. I did a video about it on my alt channel. You should watch it. It's really important. If you go where money is made, where meme coins, where a lot of people have made money from meme coins, right? And on top of that, Solana is going to be the chain. All memes on Solana are going to go parabolic. They're going to go parabolic. And when we're in a scenario where Fat Cat is sitting in a very lovely area, consolidating, accumulating. We have a bot, we have an aggregator, all of this stuff that will be feeding forward. And tomorrow, I want everyone to really understand this as well. Tomorrow, when I get into Pump.Fun, I will be announcing every project that takes on buys the Fat Cat bot, where 100% of the profit will be going back into Fat Cat, will be able to go on a 30-minute live with me to talk about their project. And when the liquidity starts to roll back into the economy, when the rate cuts happen, when all of this stuff happening, when all of these things start moving forward, the lower cap meme coins, especially the ones that have held strong and are still holding strong, are going to go ballistic, in my opinion, to another level. Crazy movements, right? Right now, we're in very low sentiment, very low exchange volume, but this is an opportunity for everyone. And now I'm going to get to the opportunity. I mean, I bigged it up a bit. So when I ask this question, you all better get this correct. You all should 100% get this correct, right? Super duper important. These stable coins that are going to be built, right? These stable coin bill has come in, that is going through all of the details and relevant aspects. There's a few more additive things that are going to be built. What chain is that going to be held on? What chain do you think these stable coins are going to be held on? And this isn't maybe. This is a definite. Well done, AZ. Well done. I mean, I did give the hint. It's on the screen. Ethereum is going to be the bastion of stable coins. All stable coins will be held on Ethereum because of the nature of Ethereum, because of its decentralized nature, because of its safety, because it's going in that way. I'll say XRP. It's going to be held on Ethereum. And I'm going to say this to all of you guys, right? Institutions and banks are soon going to be accumulating Ethereum at levels I cannot explain to you. At levels I cannot explain to you. I want people to really understand. I want people to really understand this. Ethereum is at a unique point right now, where if we get a further pullback, and I'm assuming if we do the fair value gap and do this level here, I will be just then Lambo. Just look at this. ETH and Solana are going to be going absolutely parabolic, right? How's everyone? Hello, Glow. How you doing? Uh, look how absolutely perfect the 50% line and the bottom of that fair value gap is. 2.317 is where I'm going to be buying. And I'm going to show you something here. Oh man, I'm going to show you something here, right? I'm going to show you. All right. This will be optimistic, all right? I'm going to be optimistic here. I want everyone to be free. Because when I did it the other day, I was like, nah. I actually went, nah. Check this out, right? Check this out. When you have, right, it's called a box structure high, right? This is a trading analogy. When you have this downward trend and a break of that trend, from that break to the high, is a fair estimation of where it could potentially reach to. So 6,500 looks very possible. I'm just gonna put a line here. I'll just put a line there. All right. What is 6 foot? Ethereum. Ethereum could hit 6,500. If, yeah. Where did you say you'd put your butt? That's what I had this moment today, and I was looking, and I did it several times. I was like, and then when I read it, and I was like, what? It's in the stablecoin bill, by the way. Why do you, this is the thing. Why do you think that Donald Trump's family was buying into ETH? And they told you, they said, buy ETH, thank me later. They literally told you, and this is what they were saying to you. This is what they were saying to you. They were saying to you that when this stablecoin bill passes, Ethereum is going to be the chain that all of these stable coins are held on. When I read this, I was like, wait, why does no one know about this? Why is no one talking about this insanity that only you guys that are watching this live, that I'm telling you guys straight out, are going to be hearing about first? My level, if we see a further pullback, I would be buying heavily around the 2.3, possibly come down, and it could possibly test the 270. I just want everyone to understand this fact, right? It's not like when you think the stablecoin bill, holy Moses, we're in holy Moses level, right? So if you don't give me a like, or when I ask you guys to comment, right? Can you guys comment on the YouTube, please? Because YouTube is where I'm trying to get more traction, right? And I'm giving you this stuff for free. All of this stuff is very free, and it comes in the grand prize of free. And if you divide it by free, you get free. So all I want from you, while you're cleaning your Lamborghini, right? And obviously not watching me on the toilet. Obviously, I'm giving a 40% of the viewers, toilet viewers, or potential toilet viewers. If you are, press a like button and comment and stuff. But yeah. Now, the time scale of where this insanity will get to, I don't know. Hello, me commenting on X, I know me on TikTok. I know, yeah. What can we do? If you can get my alt channel to that level, then I'll be on X as well. Cool. Where is the promised alpha? Thank you so much, M. Thank you. That's so kind of you. Oh my god, I literally gave you a key factor of the stablecoin bill, and everyone was like, "Yeah, nah, bruv." And what that means, right? And what that means is that Ethereum is the altcoin. I want everyone to understand this moving means everything is moving. I'm watching you in my kitchen with air conditioning, but I'm just gonna explain something, right? I'm doing something naughty. Shh. I'm doing something very naughty. So, shh, don't tell anyone. Right? It's keep it secret. Keep it secret. I might be getting a hole that might be I might be being opened in my house, where a friend of mine, a friend of mine might be getting a cover that's going to be like painting it in the brick color, so it looks like there is no hole there. So I might have air conditioning because it's really hot in England, and whatever. If there's a problem, I'll cover it up. I'll be good for a month. I only need it for a month. So yeah, that's what's happening. So next weekend I'm gonna be like, I'm very cool right now. Hey, we're in crypto, right? I need to like be the bad boy. I'm being bad boy right now. Okay, cool, whatever. All right, all right. It's enough into the stream so people won't watch this far. So no council guys will be like, hey, hey, according to regulation 15.7 of the gun with the things, it's it makes the bird uncomfortable that there is a hole there. The poor neighbors, we have to look at that hole. It's not a hole, right? It's a grate. There's a special grate that my friend is an artist is painting the color of the brick. So I'm gonna be doing it at the dead of night, right? But maybe that might not be a good time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're still working out the logistics of the mission we're doing. Mission air conditioning, right? I was wondering where you're going to. Hey, all right? It's really hot in England. This heat does not downstairs is like the most amazing sort of like temperature, but when I come up to this loft that is insulated to such an extent that I would not expect it to be hot, it's very hot, and I can't put air conditioning here because hole regulations. He needs to cut sorry, all right, my rant is gone. He needs to cut. I bet Trump makes him do it before. We'll see. If it needs to be an expected move. If it's an unexpected move, that's not a good sign. The birds fly by and freeze when they see the hole. No. They cook. That's where the heat is vented out. So the heat. Air conditioning guy. If you pay enough, they'll do stuff, right? I'm not paying 60K. I don't care what anyone says, right? This is less. This is less with tip. Less with tip. Tip less. No, the other way around. Anyway, so it vents the heat out. So flyby birds are going to be cooked. Which could be like, anyway. So you're just a guy in a room with no air. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. just stop. Anyway, whatever. Cool. Right. Now, that's a bit of alpha I gave you guys to have a look. Also, I want everyone to know something about Bella Baba. Remember I said to all of you guys that they are going to be launching a token. And with that, they're going to be launching their KYC free card. And on top of that, right, there's a little thing that you can do that I can't mention here, but I'll mention it in the Learn by Alvarez group. If you guys share that link in bio. And if you're in that group, right? If you're in that group, if you sign up and utilize this code here, and on top of that, fill this out, all right? They both have to be there, right? You have to fill this out. I mean, you have to sign up with this code, fill this out. You will be put into the pre-sale of this token. And so that everyone really understands what that means, right? So people really get what that means. This is a neobank, a private bank, right? That means that you can open up a bank account in any jurisdiction without being in that jurisdiction. And they do about $40 million of volume every month. This ain't some small show that we're talking about. This is going to be massive, and on top of that, you get 10% of your purchases back. And what's crazy is that you can have a wallet where you can put crypto into it, transfer it over to your card, and pay with a MasterCard on any transaction you want. There are very few institutions you can do that in such a free manner. It's very easy to do. It's very easy to open up. You can check it in that way. Mate, I need to ask your honest opinion on ICP. I think it's going to melt faces. Okay. This heat is crazy. Powell should lower the rates. The heat is absolutely mad, right? Jose. I do like that. That was very funny. I will look at ICP and check out a few things at the moment. Does everyone want to watch that meeting with Jerome Powell, the ECB forum bit of where Powell talks and where they're conversating? Does everyone watch it? Because I haven't actually had a chance to look at it and see why the markets reacted so negatively to what he said. I'm curious. What do you guys think? Yeah. Should we look at it? Should we watch it? I feel I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it because I haven't watched it. So we'll see what's going on here. I'll put this here. I've already started up and we can see where it goes from there. Okay, where are we right now? Okay, let's play this. You up for it? Yeah? You guys want to watch this? Anyone watch it anyway.
What's going to happen? But for example, like if the tariff goes back to 26%, the retaliatory tariff that was announced in April 2nd, and then also with a lot of sectoral tariff which affect our economy, aluminum, steel, and cars, we can easily say that it has an impact larger than close to 1% now GDP growth rate. And depending on how long it lasts, I think we have to adjust to the new supply chain, so the impact will be larger. So, but I hope that scenario won't come.
What is the most concerning?
Hello, real money. All right, man. Thank you.
Is it a stalling South Korea exports, slowdown in global trade, or a downturn in the U.S. economy?
It's all linked, right? It's all linked, right? The global economy slow down. And one thing, I mentioned some negative sides only, but one positive side, I don't know if it's positive or not, but Korean companies has been preparing for the supply diversification long time ago before the tariff, U.S. tariff starts to, because we have some issues with China, and then also Chinese industry has become very competitive. So we
all right, Long Ranger. Thank you for coming.
From China to elsewhere. So relatively speaking, we are well prepared. And second, still good thing is that we have some strong industries such as semiconductor, which benefit from the AI.
You can't hear it?
Technology development. So
how about now?
I hope that we can manage it. But on the other hand, given just we look at the sheer size of the export dependence, we will be significantly affected.
Governor Bailey, do you think interest rates will be closer to 3 or 4% at the end of the easing cycle, given all of the inflation and trade dynamics?
Is that better?
That's a subtle way into the R-style question, actually.
Is that better? Can you guys hear it better now? Super. All right, cool.
I would detect. So look, I'm fairly cautious about the whole discussion of the level of R-star and therefore sort of where rates are going to reach in the cycle. There is huge uncertainty around it. What I think is important and what we spend our time looking at is how restrictive is policy both now and going forwards. And our staff do a huge amount of work on that front to judge the restrictiveness of policy in the current context. and how it's, how restrictive it's going to be looking forwards if you project forward with the market curve. And the assessment we've got at the moment is that policy remains restrictive. It will continue to be restrictive, although the level of restrictiveness will come down over time, which is what I would expect. So I would expect.
Duh.
That level of restrictiveness to come down to a point where it goes more neutral. But I think you have to judge that in context. Just to give you an example of that in the UK economy, the level of household and corporate debt in the UK economy is actually lower than we would have expected it to be, but based on past experience. So again, that feeds through into just how restrictive policy is at a given interest rate. It's somewhat less restrictive probably than it would have been historically.
Could I ask all of you actually thoughts on the neutral rates? Chair Powell.
Thoughts on the neutral rate? I think, there are countless...
Sorry. I'm sorry. This guy looks lost, man. he looks like I was trying to find the buffet and somehow walked onto the stage. And I'm stuck. Sorry.
Empirical and theoretical ways to derive it. At the end of the day, I think I like to look at the economy and ask whether our policy stance is having the effects we expect and want on the economy. And to me, I would say we're somewhere probably modestly restrictive at this level. And by some formulations, we're more restrictive than that. But if you look at the economy, growth has been solid. The labor market is solid and still at historically low levels of unemployment. It's not an economy that feels like it's suffering from very tight monetary policy, but I would say that policy is still restrictive.
Yeah, but why then? Why? Why are you being restrictive? I know it's a tariff aspect, but there doesn't seem to be any justification for you to be restrictive right now.
President Lagarde?
I would say that it's a nice concept. It's interesting, and many of the terribly talented and brilliant economists in this room actually are delighted with discussion about the neutral rate. But honestly, as we're getting closer to target and to where we should be, or are where we should be, and I don't want to pass judgment on that, I think that discussion becomes less relevant. I think what our staff at the ECB measures is leads us to believe that it is higher than where it was before the great financial crisis, but it's relatively low as well, compared, for instance, with what the US neutral rate is at the moment. But it's, in a way, it's a bit of an illusion to discuss that at the moment, because the neutral rate is normally defined in a world where there is no shock, where you have perfect equilibrium. Now, are we in a world with no shocks at the moment? I don't think so. So it's nice to have as a concept, nice to elaborate on it, nice to do research on it, but to use it at the moment where we are as a guiding principle to where we should be, I don't think is particularly appropriate.
Andrew Bailey?
Well, that sort of continues what I was saying earlier. Again, I don't use it as a sort of a guide to where policy should be, but I think this whole concept of restrictiveness is, of course, critical to our judgment, because that's critical to the transmission mechanism of policy, which we have to judge every time we meet. So that's a judgment that, in a sense, we renew every meeting we have. I think I'd rather agree with what Jay was just saying. I think in our case, policy is restrictive at the moment. It's going to become less restrictive based on the curve that we've got in the market. That's what I would expect.
Cool.
We will judge it each time.
Anyone in the UK, that means he's going... If you think of it in economic factors, right? If you think about it in how these guys talk, that means a progressive, continuing rate cut until they hit the neutral level curve on their curve of rate cuts, which means that there will be continuation. This means there could be potential growth in the UK economy, but a fall in the UK. The UK pound.
Governor Ree, similar.
I have nothing to add.
Yeah, how would you see it, Governor Ueda?
Yes, so we also estimated something like the neutral rate a number of times. But the range of estimates is very wide. So, but at least we think we can say that the current rate is below neutral. But other than that, I would refer to what Jay said a year or two ago in the Jackson Hole conference, which was like, we are guided by our stuff, but under cloudy sky.
President Lagarde, can you talk to us about scenario and why this is, because of the shocks and actually the changes that are going very fast, why scenarios make more sense as a template of the economy?
Oh, okay. So this is a topic that we have largely debated as part of the strategy assessment that we conducted in the last year. And I think, in fairness, the baseline, which is, the essential projection on which we work and we determine our monetary policy stance, holds and is decisive in our consideration. But at the same time, our staff has, I wouldn't say forever, but as long as I know myself, has always conducted scenario analysis, sensitivity analysis, in order to arrive at, the most solid baseline. It is probably the case that we will do more of it, more systematically, that we might publish more often than we have. We have published, I think, in the last few years, in four circumstances we have published scenario analysis. The invasion of Ukraine was one, COVID was one, the oil crisis as well, and the tariff threats. So all those were exogenous factors that were sort of...
Do you like the way that she puts tariff in the same boat as like COVID and Ukraine and Middle East and all those kind of things? It's like it's at that level of threat. It's not at that level of threat. Come on, man.
Of hitting our screens, I think we might do more scenario analysis that will be looking at the longer term trends that will affect our economy, and that will inform and strengthen our baseline, enhance it probably in its reliability. So that's what we are debating at the moment. How this is built, what assumptions we make, what choices are decided in terms of publishing will be determined by the Governing Council in good intelligence with our staff.
Yeah, and Jay Powell, on scenarios?
So for many years, we have used scenario analysis internally, and I personally find it very useful. I think many of my colleagues do too. You have just many different kinds of scenarios. We have 6 or 7 at every FOMC meeting. They're often the topic of discussion among governors and at the meeting. We have not taken the step of using them as a public communications device, and that's a big difference. So that's one of the things we're going to be talking about this fall.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of a level of there's a level of politicization on what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like it's true. GB Powell blames Trump tariffs for failure to cut. Yeah, I think so, and I think it's a perfect scapegoat for anything that he does.
We will wrap up the first part of our framework review, which is the consensus statement, our monetary policy framework. We expect to by the end of the summer. And then we're going to use the fall meetings to look at communications ideas, and that's one of the ones we'll look at. I will say it has a lot of appeal and a lot of questions, and so my expectation is if we're going to do something in that area, it's going to be putting a toe in the water and not just throwing ourselves over Niagara Falls on it. So I can imagine a situation where we would try that in a particular circumstance, but for us, we're just going to do the work and understand it, as many other central banks are doing now.
In our case, we use the scenario analysis in our risk management section as a kind of representing the tail risk. But I have to read the ECB report, but if we have to move that section into the more forecasting section for public communication, I wonder whether it's going to be easy to get some consensus, which scenario we have to do it among our probably members in the monetary policy meeting. So because that scenario and those underlying assumption may be much harder to communicate, to agree among the members. And also, it's specific to us, but how I can differentiate the previous approach of risk management section to the forecasting that I have to think over what we have to do.
So I think two things.
By the way, all right. By the way, he is hitting the terrace lesbian. Yeah. By the way, like literally 5 of the most powerful people sitting on this little panel here, debating about whether the markets are gonna go absolutely parabolic or not. Like they're just chatting like, yeah, I mean, like we'll see, you know, depends. Where's my fur jacket? You know, but it's a bit cold, so you know, like a summer house would be pretty nice.
So I would add, and it's very much in the same spirit as colleagues. One, we introduced 2 scenarios in the May round and in the May report. For me, they were very useful. They were either on either side. They weren't symmetric, by the way, but they were on either side. For me, they were very useful in terms of my decision making because they helped me to answer the question, given the uncertainty. If we're wrong, if I'm wrong in my judgment, how wrong am I going to be? You know, do I think I'm going to be? And what would be the consequences of that? And you know, what would we then have to do to deal with them? I mean, is it manageable? And that was helpful. And then I think the question, coming back to what Jay was saying in terms of public communication, I mean, this is the big step, I think, and it is challenging. I'll tell you why, because I say this quite a lot. We make a lot of conditional statements. You may have detected this in all the many interviews you do. And I'm not making a personal comment now, Francine, but yeah, a lot of those conditional comments get immediately translated as unconditional comments. It's sort of life.
We're quite careful, but...
Yeah, no, it's not personal. You know, this is the general point. And so the reason I say...
Did you get the joke? Did you get the joke? Wow, man. That was... Wow. This guy must be a hoot at the dinner table.
This is that if we, and that's about the central case, by the way. So if we introduce scenarios, that's a message to us that you're going to have to do this very carefully in that world, because to get the point across about, there is always a range, there's always uncertainty, there is always risk. How you calibrate those and how you, as Jay was saying, how you communicate those publicly is critical, but pretty challenging, frankly, in that environment.
Governor Ueda?
Yes, we also carry out many simulation exercises about scenarios, but we have not, as far as I know, published them. We do discuss in our quarterly reports qualitatively what risks we have in mind. Mm-hmm. On top of that, I would say, in a very rough way, we are carrying out something like a risk management approach to monetary policy making, which is probably a bit similar to what Christine was talking about.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, this is getting mind-numbingly boring. So I'm almost certain 90% of the audience is sleeping. So do you mind if I cut through to Powell's conversation bits? Because this guy, really, should I do that? Should I just cut to Powell statements? And then I can start looking at your coins. What about that? Yay, nay, or should I continue? I want people thoughts on this matter. Yay, nay, continue? Continue, yay. It is, I watched it already. Oh, what do you mean? What does that mean? Should I? Okay, I'm skipping forward. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, please. All right. Okay, let me get to the bits. Where is this dude? Where's Mr. Powell? All right. Okay.
Continue to be broken. I think the jury is out on that front.
Chair Powell, how do you think we'll look back on 2025?
So you're asking me how we're going to look back on 2025.
Yeah, how will his...
Is it me? Or does this guy look tired AF? Is it me, or is Powell looking unbelievably tired right now?
Historians look back on this year. Is it pivotal?
It's clearly an important year. There's a lot going on, with trade, and I think I'm hopeful that we'll look back on it as a year where we successfully challenged some significant economic changes, and our job is to make sure that is the case.
You get attacked by the president a lot on a personal basis. Does it make your job harder?
I'm very focused on just doing my job. I mean, there are things that matter are using our tools to achieve the goals that Congress has given us: maximum employment, price stability, financial stability, and that's what we focus on, 100%.
Madame Lagarde, if you were in the same position as Chair Powell, would you do anything differently?
I think I speak for myself, but I speak for all colleagues on the panel. I think we would do exactly the same thing as our colleague Jay Powell does. The same thing. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Governor Bailey, is the rest of the world decoupling from America but pulling tighter elsewhere? How do you see fragmentation happening?
All right, let's get to
Well,
okay.
The FEMA repo facility by the Fed, actually these reserves become much more effective tool to defend ourselves.
Jay Powell, on fragmentation?
Well, I guess I'll just agree with what Chang Young said, which is, or point out that nothing has changed relative to our swap lines. We still have the same authorities, and we're still prepared to use them in situations where it's within our legal authorities and where we think it makes sense. So that is, we're aware that that's a big contribution that we can and do and will continue to make to global financial stability.
Governor Ueda, how much do you think about fragmentation and the times for very long? And then you also said we'll have to do better sooner, something sooner or later. In Sintra, you said that the U.S. cannot run these kind of deficits in good economic times for very long. And then you also said we'll have to do better sooner, something sooner or later, and sooner will be better than later. How's it going?
So, of course, I probably preface that by saying that we don't comment on fiscal policy. That is the one thing that I have said, and my predecessors have also said, and that is the U.S. federal, fiscal path is not a sustainable one. The level of the debt is sustainable, but the path is not, and we need to address that sooner or later. Sooner is better than later. That's what I said last year. There's not a lot more I can say.
For everyone else, how much of a problem for the world are America's public finances? Governor Rhee?
We have to see what's going to happen. Yeah, but as I mentioned,
That laugh he did was like, that's the biggest elephant in the room laugh I've ever seen. Oh dear me, it's a bit of a problem.
Chair Powell?
So, I have a little more than 10 months left on my term as chair.
Bye.
And all I want, and all anybody.
Bye. Bye, Mr. Powell. See you later. You're definitely not keeping your job. Like, fire up that CV. Get it rolling. Cause you ain't staying in the job, my man.
The Fed wants is to deliver an economy that has, price stability, maximum employment, financial stability. And what keeps me awake at night is how do we get that done? I want to hand over to my successor an economy in good shape, and so do all of my colleagues. That's all we ever want. So that's what keeps me awake at night. Is are we on a path to do that, and how do we get that done?
Do you plan to stay on as Fed governor after your chair term expires?
I have nothing for you on that today.
I don't think you have a choice, bruv. I don't think you have a choice. No choice, my friend. No choice.
Hey.
Governor Rhee, what keeps you up at night?
First, my apology to Ueda-san, but to me,
that actually meaningful improve liquidity in the treasury market?
I do fully support what we in fact voted for, what we put out for comment, which is sort of putting the leverage ratio back where it should be, which is a backstop to risk-based capital. And so yes to that question. Let me say on stable coins, if I can.
Yep.
I do share the concerns that you hear here, but I also think it's a positive step that we don't have a regulatory framework for these now in the United States. We tried very hard in the last Congress to work with, people on both sides of the aisle.
Those countries which are those relatively strong view on that point, if you don't mind, because I think that we are falling prey to some confusion between money, means of payment, and payment infrastructure.
This is important. This is very important.
And that is accelerated or emphasized as a result of the technology that are being used, and some technologies in particular. And I regard money as a public good, and ourselves as the public servants in charge of securing and protecting that public good. My fear is that blurring of the lines that I mentioned earlier are likely to lead to a privatization of money. And I don't think that this is the purpose for which we've been appointed to do the job that we have, nor is it good for this public good that is money. I think it risks undermining our capacity to conduct monetary policy, and I think it risks weakening the sovereignty of those countries or those regions which inadvertently become subject of the use of that means of payment infrastructure / alleged money, and we should not only just consider it, but determine what our policy should be about it, if we mean what we say and we protect what we have to protect. Thank you.
So what you're saying, basically, you don't like it because you lose power. Is that basically what you're saying? That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. That is the most European Union bullcrap statement I've ever heard.
I actually have a question. Do you fully support the recent proposal driven by the Vice Chair for Supervision, Michelle Bowman, on rolling back capital rules? Would that actually meaningful improve liquidity in the treasury market?
I do fully support what we in fact voted for, what we put out for comment, which is sort of putting the leverage ratio back where it should be, which is a backstop to risk-based capital. And so yes to that question. Let me say on stable coins, if I can.
Yep.
I do share the concerns that you hear here, but I also think it's a positive step that we don't have a regulatory framework for these now in the United States. We tried very hard in the last Congress to work with, people on both sides of the aisle to create such a thing. Now it looks like we're well on the way to creating a framework, which I think is something we need. If we're going to have stable coins, and apparently we need to have a federal and state level regulatory framework, which I think we're making progress towards having.
We only have a couple of minutes left, and so many of you have plenty of time left in office. Others will leave sooner. Knowing what you know today, Governor Ueda, if you already had to offer some advice to your successor, whoever that may be, what would it be?
Good conference here today. It's been a pleasure.
Right. Okay. So apart from being wildly boring, one really interesting thing that I got from that is that the USA is fully pushing forward for the Stablecoin Act and getting stablecoins a part of the economy and actually giving it regulatory clarity. And I'll tell you this now. If the USA incorporates this in a way that is well regulated within strict boundaries that banks and financial institutions can fully understand, utilize, and gain some form of profit from, the world will do it. and Ethereum will go absolutely parabolic. People, and I want people to understand this thing, and I'll leave it on this fact, right? Everyone talks about how XRP is gonna be like the thing that's going to change everything, right? One second. Right, they think that it's going to be the thing that changes everything, right? But if we compare the market cap of Ethereum to XRP, because everyone's giving these vibes of everything, all right? Ethereum market cap is 289 billion fully diluted market cap. What is XRP? Is 216 billion. Sorry, that made me. I was trying to keep a straight face there. Sorry. If you want to have and see the wild claims that XRP is talking about, right? I'm going to need you guys to really look at Ethereum. Because Ethereum literally could do what XRP is screaming about. And they're basically the same market cap. That's wild, man. That's actually wild. US all-in on stablecoins equals 100% government control over your ability on what you can spend on your, what you cannot spend money on. Next up is social credit score. I would not be too hasty about that. I don't think so. They're creating the stablecoins to relieve the stress of the dollar. I'm telling you, the stablecoin bill is going to be a factor that will devalue the dollar to such an extent that they can then, to inflate themselves out of the debt, while at the same time gaining more income from tariffs and various other factors in that way. I promise you now, like, the stablecoin bill is going to be absolutely spectacular for the crypto industry. Absolutely spectacular for it. Yeah, there's going to be a lot more tracking in this and the other, but they can track everything you do now anyway. Nothing right now is anything different than that. The idea of cash is disappearing into nothing, and everything is now card and transfers and this and the other. It's just going to make everything 1,000 times more efficient. 1,000 times more efficient. And Ethereum is going to go to ungodly numbers. I kind of want Ethereum to really pull back hard. Is it weird of me to say that? I really want it to really pull back so I can put, like, $250,000 into it. I'm planning on holding Ethereum. Can you get a quick tier and level? Yeah, I mean, look, short. I'll start leveraging down. Like, I think this 50% level here is going to be a key level for Ethereum, because not only does it hold between the fair value gap, also it hits the perfect 50% level of the Fibonacci retracement. That shows real strength, right? But I would also like it to come down to 1,785 as well, now that I know what's going to be coming in the future. I mean, look, I have a very large amount of Ethereum, right? I'm not going to say the exact amount, but I am kind of understanding. I'm going to be going quite heavy into Solana and Ethereum. I have a lot of Solana anyway, but Solana and Ethereum are going to be doing some silly things. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and things on those two chains are going to be doing some crazy levels. The levels to look for long. I've already said it. I think Ethereum could potentially come down to 2315, that level there. 2315, 2317. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed everything. Make sure you go and check out the Learn My Alvarez group. Some funky links there. Go and check out the pro group as well. The pro group is pretty awesome, pretty amazing. It's only $50 a month. It's not a lot. You get a lot of information there, a lot of alpha, a lot of details that are there. A lot of these things come out before everyone really understands, and you can cancel it anytime. It's a nice little Telegram channel with a lot more information. What do you not spend $50 a month on, especially in this industry right now? Also, make sure you go and check out Fat Cat as well. You can see Fat Cat here. If you actually go here and press on the buy button, you actually go to the aggregator, and you can purchase Fat Cat. You can swap it from pretty much 42 different chains into Fat Cat. Also, if you guys want to swap anything to anything else, buy anything else, make sure you check out the Fat Cat aggregator as well. Remember, tomorrow when I go on to the live on Pump.fun, I will be offering this deal where you'll be able to arrange the bot. Anyone that purchases the bot will be able to get into a live. So this should show some real move in the markets, and especially in the Fat Cat graph. This is a key thing to have a look. We're also really strong holders, and anyone that wants to get into the whale, if anyone that has over 5 million Fat Cat, right, can enter the whale. It's really easy. You just press join here. You need 5 million plus, and you get a whole bunch of premium things. You get real access to me. I'll talk to you at any second. You get all indicators, free alpha, free entrance into the big memes and things like that, and other projects that are launching. Some of the last ones that people have done 70-80x on the things that I've called from there. All right, guys, I am going to say love you and leave you. It's been amazing. You guys are awesome, and we can go from there. All right, peace, affection, love. Make sure you follow my 1 second. I'm going to leave on one thing. It's really important. It's super duper important. You need to understand that I'm going to actually have a check. 1 second. All right, I'm going to have a check on one thing. I want to see how many people has followed We're on 118. You guys joking me right now. 118. Damn. Silly Billy, right? We need to get this to 1,000. Come on. 1,000, and we can go from there. Make sure this is the account. Crypto Alvarez. Once it gets to 1,000, I'll be able to go live on there, and we'll be able to get a lot more people here and see all the questions that you may not know is happening. All right, I'll leave it here. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. Lots of love, affection, and all of that stuff. You guys are incredible.